We have an update on MJF's recent absence, and Tony Khan has hit back at WWE. But first is a top AEW star set to leave the company. At the All Out pay-per-view last night, there would be a trios match in the semi-main event of the night that saw Miro, Darby Allin, and Sting team up against the House of Black's Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. The finish of the match would see Sting face off with Malachi Black, with the latter attempting a spinning heel kick before the Icon blinded him with Black Mist, allowing Darby to hit the Last Summer for the pinfall win. Interestingly, it was Malachi Black who took the fall, this following recent reports that he had requested his release from the company due to mental health issues, with him having problems in his personal life as well as dissatisfaction with his on-screen booking, this according to Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri. Well, the finish may be a sign that Black is officially done with the company, as according to those in attendance, the House of Black would hug at the top of the ramp, which came across as a goodbye before Malachi Black blew a kiss to the crowd before taking a bow. By no means does this mean the confirmation of a permanent exit, although there has been reports from Fightful Select that notes that a top AEW star was planning on taking some time away from the company. Whilst it's not confirmed to be Malachi as of this recording, it does seem logical to assume that it is. With that said, hopefully Black's exit or hiatus helps him get back to full health mentally, with him coming back better than ever upon his return, with the push he deserves whether it's inside or out of AEW. Next up, we have an update on the future of Jeff Hardy. On June 13th, Jeff Hardy would be arrested days before his scheduled AEW Dynamite main event match, with him originally set to team with his brother Matt to take on the Young Bucks and then AEW World Tag Team Champions Jurassic Express for the titles. Since then, he hasn't appeared on AEW television, with his brother's appearances remaining sporadic at best. Well, yesterday on Twitter, Matt Hardy would provide an update on he and his brother's status, when a fan mentioned that they were sad that he wouldn't be at the AEW All Out pay-per-view, and Hardy would respond, "It's all good. Tonight's AEW All Out is going to be an epic pay-per-view. It's a stacked AEW card. We're getting close to learning my brother's future, so I'll be taking a definite direction soon. I'm extremely excited to get on a path so I can haul and kick ass." Jeff remains on trial for charges of DUI, driving with a suspended license, and violating restrictions placed on driver's license, with him also being suspended by All Elite Wrestling the day after his arrest. The company have stated that he will not return to the promotion until his rehabilitation and substance abuse treatment is complete. He will take part in a hearing on October 19th, which should give us some idea on his future. And next, the reason for a short AEW match has been revealed. Last night, Christian Cage would go one-on-one with former friend Jungle Boy, who looked to overcome the veteran on the night. Unfortunately for Jack, he would be blindsided by his tag team partner Luchasaurus right before the match, who threw him off the stage before driving him through a ringside table. Despite this, Jack was up for the fight with the bell ringing, although things didn't last long, with Christian putting him away in a mere 33 seconds after the bell rang. The Luchasaurus turn comes after recently aligning with Christian on AEW Dynamite before changing his mind, returning to the side of Jungle Boy, with him seemingly now making a final decision to go to the dark side. Well, now we have a potential reason for the match being so short, as according to Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, Christian is currently injured, and he couldn't do the match because of how serious it is. Christian came out wearing a brace on his arm, which in storyline is from when Jungle Boy threw him into the steel steps. We can likely expect a rematch between Jack and Christian at some point, and perhaps even a match between the two former members of the Jurassic Express later down the line. And next up, the unified NXT champions have been crowned. Last night, WWE would hold the next NXT Premium Live event, Worlds Collide, to signify the end of the NXT UK brand. On the show, 3 unification matches would take place, merging NXT and NXT UK belts as one. First, there would be a fatal 4-way tag team elimination match between the Creed brothers, who walked in as NXT tag champions, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, who started the night as NXT UK tag champions, as well as Pretty Deadly and Gallus making up the 3rd and 4th teams. In the end, new champions would be named when Pretty Deadly, the team of Elton Prince and Kit Wilson, walked away with both belts, with them now being 2-time holders of each. Later in the night, Mandy Rose would put her NXT Women's title on the line, as did Meiko Satomura with her NXT UK Women's belt, with a wildcard entering the match, that being Blair Davenport, the former Bea Priestley in AEW. Mandy Rose would reign supreme, becoming the unified Women's Champion, pinning Davenport for the win. The main main event of the night would see the NXT champion battle the NXT UK champion as Bron Breakker took on the much smaller Tyler Bate in a David vs Goliath type fight. Unfortunately for Bate, it was Goliath who stood tall, with Breakker becoming the ultimate champion of both brands, and NXT UK now comes to an end. NXT Europe will now be introduced in its place, which is set to be launched in the near future. And next, there was an X-rated moment at a recent GCW show. This weekend, Game Changer Wrestling would host the Art of War event on Saturday night, where Matt Cardona would defend his internet title against Jimmy Lloyd, and for further stakes, Cardona would put his GCW career on the line, meaning the crowd were all the way behind Lloyd if they weren't so already. During the match, Lloyd would lock Cardona in a Boston Crab, coming close to a victory. This before Cardona's wife, Chelsea Green, would provide a helpful distraction, catching Jimmy off guard. Green would climb onto the apron, distracting him with something straight out of ECW, before Cardona took advantage by low-blowing Lloyd, allowing him to score the win. This means Cardona and Green remain in GCW going forward, as the former world champion, Universal Champion of Game Changer Wrestling, continues to try to reshape the promotion in his own image. The couple continue to travel together, appearing in many of the same promotions, including NWA and Impact Wrestling, with them finding new ways to stay on top. And next, we have an update on MJF's recent absence. At AEW All Out last night, MJF would make a surprise appearance, winning the Casino ladder match to become the #1 contender for the world title, all whilst hidden under a mask, before later revealing himself to the new AEW World Champion CM Punk at the end of the night. The Devil himself has been away from AEW television since June 1st, where he ran down AEW president Tony Khan, calling to be fired from the company. Last night after the pay-per-view, Chris Jericho would speak with the media, where he was asked about his thoughts on the return of MJF, and had some very interesting things to say. Jericho would reveal his prediction for the future of the Salt of the Earth, and detail the conversation that he had with him during his absence, and Chris would say, "I'm a big fan of MJF, I really am. I said to him, when you come back, you're going to be a babyface." He's like, "I don't want to be a babyface, I don't want to be a babyface." I was like, "It's going to happen." He's like, "I don't know what to do." And I said, "I'm sure The Rock said the same thing, or Steve Austin said the same thing. You can do a babyface comeback, I'll teach you, it's easy." It's easier to make people hate you than it is to make them like you, but once they start hating you, that's when they really start liking you. I think he'll be one of the top babyfaces, whether he wants to be or not, very, very soon. A game changer, that's my opinion. The quote from Jericho confirms that MJF had intended on returning at some point, and that he was in communication with some members of the roster despite everyone remaining silent about him in public. With that said, it's still unclear if AEW and MJF have come to terms on an extended contract following their reported real-life renegotiations, with Max said to be wanting a higher salary, whilst AEW want to extend the deal past 2024, something that he doesn't want to do. We're now seeing this play out on screen, with Tony Khan giving in to his demands, at least within the storyline. And finally, Tony Khan has hit back at WWE. This past weekend, AEW would hold the 4th annual All Out pay-per-view from Chicago, Illinois, with this being the 3rd big wrestling event of the weekend. The show followed WWE Clash at the Castle on Saturday night, with WWE also hosting the NXT Worlds Collide event the next day, hours before All Out kicked off. Addressing the situation at the All Out media scrum, Tony Khan would reveal that this year's All Out is the 2nd most successful event of the same name in terms of pay-per-view buys, with him feeling WWE's counterbooking led to the small drop. And Khan would say, "There's a big difference between this year and last year. We were the first professional wrestling show and the only professional wrestling show on Labor Day weekend last year, and we were the 3rd professional wrestling show of the weekend this year. I don't think that's a coincidence. When I talk about things I wasn't thrilled about, I was a little surprised we were the 3rd professional wrestling show this weekend, and it's probably a bit more challenging in the marketplace when it becomes a little more crowded. Our performance in prior years, we've never had this kind of competition. This was kind of a first for us in AEW to see this kind of crowded marketplace. I'm not sure if this is what we'll see from now on. I am very happy with the numbers we did, given the competition we had. The number is the number, and I have to face the competition that is out there." Khan would then compare the difference between himself and Jim Crockett, who was a victim of heavy counterbooking from WWE in the 80s, and Tony would say, "When I compared myself to Jim Crockett Promotions this weekend, I think I got a taste of the same medicine Jim Crockett Promotions took, but I have a lot more fucking money than Jim Crockett did. I'm serious, I'm not gonna sit back and take this fucking shit." Tony would then insist that he's up for the fight, and he would say, I've had a number of interactions with WWE. I've said a lot of nice stuff, and I don't regret saying nice stuff because I'm super honest about pro wrestling. And when I saw good stuff there, I'll be the first to say it. I'm just not feeling the same love. I don't want to get into it. I just haven't felt the same reciprocation from them. If it is, when the fight is brought, I will continue bringing fights of my own. I have a unique way to do that. I have a lot of money to fight with, and this is not a game to me. This is my life, and I don't think it's a joke, and I take it really seriously. It's unclear if WWE will continue to book their premium live events close to AEW pay-per-views, but clearly Khan feels like he's up for the task regardless, with him having the resources to compete with the biggest promotion in the world. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 wrestlers you forgot wrestled in AEW.